I don't really get the feeling that it was supposed to have this much positive ease for a 9 to 12 month baby, or 6 to 9 month baby. Wait, what size did I knit? 6 to 12 months. Unless I didn't. Hey guys, welcome back. If you're new here, my name's Bethany. I'm the girl behind Well Loved Knits. And today I wanted to sit down and do a traditional knitting podcast episode. I don't really do these very frequently, kind of whenever I have a lot of things to show. But since I do weekly videos, I do think that you've seen a lot of what I'm going to share. So if you catch up on these videos regularly, then you might see some familiar pieces today. Otherwise, hello, welcome here, and I'm happy to have you here, and I'll tell you all about what I've been knitting on in this episode. And then I have quite a few acquisitions to share. And I'm really excited about all of it. Just forewarned, this is a very baby heavy episode. If you don't know, Molly. So if you don't know, I am in my 3rd trimester of pregnancy. My husband and I are expecting our first baby in September. It's a baby boy. We're very excited. And since finding out and sharing that information with you guys, that news, I've decided to go on a little bit of a baby knits marathon, going crazy, knitting up all I can for his wardrobe and more before he arrives. So that's really all I have to share. Not really many selfish knits for me lately, which is a huge change because normally I am very much a selfish knitter. I really do not knit gifts for people. I just don't get inspired, and I'm not heavily motivated in projects when I don't see a purpose for myself. Maybe that's again, a little selfish. I'm proud to say that, because if you're putting in all the time and effort, you want to do it for somebody who's going to really appreciate it and who's going to appreciate it more than me. That's at least what I tell myself. But anyway, we are doing a lot of selfless knits, but at the same time, I guess it is kind of selfish. So I'm excited to show those to you guys. I actually have the pile of knits back here. So I have 3 finished objects to share. Kind of. I would say that one of them isn't as finished as it should be, and that's entirely my fault. Well, I have no one to blame but myself, but I really could have put more effort into finishing this up before sharing it with you on the podcast. But I think in the last podcast episode that I decided to sit down and do, I showed that I was working on this. So this was a WIP. This is the Ingrid Sweater baby version. By Petite Knit. This is a pattern that has taken Instagram by storm. I think even YouTube by storm. A lot of people are knitting up the women's version of the Ingrid sweater. And of course, she released one for babies. And when I saw that, I absolutely had to cast it on because I wasn't, and I've said this, but I wasn't really obsessed with the Ingrid sweater. I think as, some people saw it and really just loved it. It took me a while to kind of warm up to it. I think maybe it's just because I knew that it was going to be such a challenging project for the women's size that I was just like, no way in heck am I ever going to cast that on. But the baby version, when I saw that, I was like, oh, well, it's so small. It's going to be really fast. And it looks like a lot of fun. And it is a lot of fun. It is very, very textured, as you can see. Very, very large. Larger than I expected. Let me talk about the pattern first. So the pattern, I think, is not very difficult at all. I think it just looks intimidating. It's really just a matter of figuring out how to make some of the stitches, but really it's just a bunch of knits and purls and knits togethers and SSKs or whatever. Maybe not SSKs. You know what I mean. It's really not that complex. It's just you have to pay attention to what you're doing. So if you're somebody who really enjoys to just zone out while you're knitting, this is probably going to give you a little bit of a hard time. I am one of those people, but surprisingly, my brain was on top of things when I had this project on the needles. I was all about the chart. I really loved working up with the chart. I haven't done that many times in my knitting journey, so it was a really refreshing new thing for me to do, and it really made me inspired and yeah, just very motivated to get this knit done. I am using superwash yarn, or I used superwash yarn from Rowan Yarn in this really beautiful baby blue color. I've mentioned that this is a color that has just been in my life lately. I really just adore it. I think it's really, really sweet. When I cast on with this yarn, I was knitting up the 6 to 9 months. Now you tell me, does this look like this is gonna fit a 6 to 9 month a 6 to 9 month old baby? No, I don't think so. Honestly, I feel like this looks like it could fit a toddler. He's growing up so fast already. So yeah, I was very disappointed after blocking my project. I had worked so hard on it. It was, I went on vacation last month. It's already been a month, more than. And this was my main project that I took with me, and I worked on it poolside. It was so much fun. What a great time. And it just flew off the needles. So it really didn't hurt to be in a tropical location and have really nothing else to do but knit this up. And when I knit it up, it definitely didn't give me any indication that it would stretch as much as it did. So I was very shocked when I did a quick block. I didn't even really keep it in the water for all that long. I really just wanted to get to stretch out the ribbing, get some of the kinks out. And as you can see, it's still really not as blocked, I think, as it should be. So it's still kind of cinching in a little bit where it shouldn't. And it exploded, basically. It just grew into this large, large sweater. And I guess it's the yarn that I chose. So the Rowan Superwash yarn, I think that's really what it's called. I don't have the label anymore. I actually used up every skein that I bought. I think I only needed 2 skeins for this project. And I was nearly playing yarn chicken at the end, which is why the collar is not as thick as I think the sample is, or what's recommended in the pattern. It's definitely not as thick as what's recommended in the pattern, but I don't really know if it's all that noticeable. You can see that I need to finish weaving in the ends, and it's not quite finished. It's a finished object, but it's not quite finished to how I want it to be. One, because of the ends weaving in, but also I've been taking my time, slowly going back and doing Italian bind off. So I've done it here on the sleeves. It just looks so good. But you'll notice that on the body, it is cast off in ribbing. So when I was on vacation doing this, the most important thing I forgot was my darning needle. So that was a little tragic. So what I ended up doing was just doing an extra 2 rows maybe, and then casting off in ribbing. And what I've done for the sleeves, and I'll do for the body, is rip back a couple of rows and then use that tail to do the Italian bind off. And it worked really well here. And I actually much prefer it because this is quite long, this ribbing right here. Really love the knit. I think it's really great. I don't know if it's really the pattern or if it's the yarn that made this so large. I mean, Petite Knits patterns are always built in with a lot of positive ease, but I don't really find that for the baby things that I've been knitting up recently, because I've been knitting up all of her patterns. Basically all the baby knits that I have to show and have shown are Petite Knit patterns, and it's just because I really like the way she writes her patterns. I love her style. You know, I want my babies to look like her babies, basically. Yeah, so I don't really get the feeling that it was supposed to have this much positive ease for a 9 to 12 month baby, or 6 to 9 month baby. Wait, what size did I knit? 6 to 12 months. Unless I didn't. Anyway, I'm very happy with how this turned out. It almost tempts me to want to cast on the Ingrid sweater for myself, but I am in no place to do such an intricate selfish knit like that right now. We still have a lot more baby knits to do. And then, I just have some other fall plans, which we'll get into in the next couple of weeks or months as soon as fall gets closer. So Ingrid Sweater Baby, off the needles, kind of. Needs to go back on the darning needle for a little bit, and I will get that done very soon, hopefully. Because I really just love having all of the knits that I've made so far put away, washed, put away, and ready to go, essentially, for when baby arrives. It's been a really accomplished feeling that I've had. So speaking of, here's another one. If you caught up with me on our knit and chat last week, you will have already seen this. But I had to add it in here because it's just too dang cute not to show over and over again. But then also, it's just really sweet. So, this is the Seaside Sweater by Petite Knit, of course. This is for 1 to 2 months. I think I'd knit the 1 to 2 month size. I don't remember. I can't remember the sizes for any of these things. And the thing that I'm really finding out about baby clothing items in general is that none of the sizes across any place that you will potentially buy something for your baby or get something gifted for your baby, all of the sizes for a certain month range just are completely different. So it's really just dependent on the baby. This will be ready in case I have a big baby or, if it takes some time to grow into it. Doesn't matter really what size I knit. He's going to be wearing this whenever he can fit into it. So the Seaside Sweater is just the cutest thing. And this is probably one of my favorite things that I've made for baby in the past couple of months since I've started my little marathon. This is knit up with Knitting for Olive Merino. I should have gone back and checked for sure what the colors are. But this is a storm. You know what? I'm going to look it up now. So actually, this blue, as I'm trying to look it up, see my phone? See that? This blue is just in my life. When I was at the store purchasing the Knitting for Olive, because I did a huge haul a couple of months ago when I kicked off my marathon, I was on the fence about the blue. Something about it I really liked, but then I was also kind of hesitant about it, and then I didn't know if it was going to be the vibe I was going for. So I almost didn't pick it up, but it's my absolute favorite shade. I think it's ice blue in the Knitting for Olive Merino, because all the other blues here look a little too dark. So that ice blue, what is this one? No, soft blue. No. It's definitely soft blue because you can tell. See, this one right here is just a little too blue. This one is stormy blue, and that's what we love. We love stormy blue. So the soft blue paired with brown nougat makes the cutest combination, in my opinion. I only have the one skein of the soft blue, so unfortunately just the scraps for the ball that I used to knit up this sweater is all that's left in my stash, but I plan on using that for sure. And then I have a lot of brown nougat in my stash because I just absolutely love this color right here. I think it's the perfect soft brown, and then paired with the soft blue, I don't know, it's a fun combination. I was unsure about the combination at first, but you guys also said that you thought it turned out really nice, and I agree. I think it's a gorgeous color combination. This, I really can't say anything but good things about this pattern. It's an easy raglan knit. You have to knit back and forth a little bit at the start because of the buttons there, so you have some ease of access to fit baby's head in, which is really nice. And then everything else is just knit in the round, and it's just so easy. I don't think I've really done stripes on other projects that I can think of. So that was fun. It definitely made the project feel like it was flying a lot faster than normal. Normally, when you get lost in a sea of one solid color, you kind of don't really notice how fast the rows are going by. Whereas here, because I knew that I only needed a certain number of rows for the brown stripes, it just felt like it was flying. So, and it really did. I cast this on. I asked you guys over on Instagram what my next cast on should be after I finished the Ingrid sweater, actually. And you guys voted on this one. And I cast it on as soon as I got home, and it came off the needles in no time, which is crazy. And I'm absolutely just over the moon with how it is. So much that I would really love to knit another one, but we'll get into that in after we're done with everything else. But here are the buttons. Maybe you would like to see those up close. Don't really pay too much attention to the thread work that I did, because I just make sure that they stay on, I'm not trying to make it pretty. Sewing on buttons for me is more like, let's make sure this thing will not pop off, instead of let's make it look nice and neat. But I think the choice was really good. I love tortoiseshell buttons, very beautiful. And I really love the color together as well. Perfect. A lot of fun. Definitely will knit another one, for sure. But like I said, well, I didn't say, I had 2 balls. One was the soft blue and the other one was the brown nougat. That was all that was required. And I had so much left over of the brown nougat that I wanted to cast on something else, which is my next finished object, which is a surprise cast on for me. Honestly, this was at a whim. I had that extra brown nougat, and I just wanted a little quick fun project. And I don't know. I was scrolling through Petite Knits patterns. I'm on her website all the time lately. And I saw the Anchors bonnet, and I decided that was going to be something that I cast on. And I literally cast it on and off in the matter of 48 hours. It was just crazy. But this is so dang cute. It's not even funny. And I didn't even use up the remainder of the brown nougat. I probably could have just knit something up in the soft blue and used all of that up, because I only needed, I think the pattern says like 17 grams for the newborn size. And I wanted to make the newborn size for sure. Like, look how cute it is. It's so small. Everything that I've been making lately is so small, which is why I have so many finished objects. Let's be honest, because I'm not a fast knitter. But this was 100% worth the time and effort. It is just so cute. I really love it. So the Anchor bonnet has a similar motif to the Anchor line that Petite Knit has. So if you're familiar with her patterns, she has a whole bunch of designs that are for multiple types of people, little people and women, men, and the Anchor tee is one of those circular yokes that she has for t-shirts for women, children, I think even men. It just features this 1x1 rib with the little groove in between. I don't know how to explain it. I'm trying here. But yeah, so this has a very similar vibe. Let's just say that. A very similar vibe to her other Anchor patterns. You could knit it up in a long sleeve, I think, in a short sleeve. There's a onesie that has the Anchor motif for babies. And then there's a men's shirt, long sleeve, and so on. The bonnet, though, we're talking about the bonnet. It was a perfect project for any, scraps. And like I said, I still have even more left over of the brown nougat that I used with the Seaside sweater. But I wanted to use that because I thought it would be kind of cute together, I mean, this is a newborn hat, and this is supposed to be like 3 months or something, but okay, how would I model this? Yeah, it's just super cute. A lot of fun to knit. It just flew off the needles. It's worked back and forth and then joined in the round at some point to make the decreases. And then it has that nice little I-cord edge detail along the back. And then you continue to make I-cords so that you can tie it around his little head. So cute. It still needs to be blocked. So this is fresh off the needles, basically. And we'll put it in the bath. And I think it will soften up much nicer and have a little bit more definition maybe with some of the stitches. I'm really happy with it. I will definitely make more bonnets. I think I had kind of forgotten when I was on the Petite Knit site that I wanted to knit the bonnet from Knitting for Olive. And I just remembered that is it the Bearly bonnet? I want to knit it though without the bare ears, because there's something about the way that the ears are sitting. When I see the picture of it on a baby, it just doesn't look right to me. So I like the plain version that has moss stitch on the edge. I forgot that I wanted to knit that. And I wish I would have remembered, so I would have knit that one up. Because I feel like I'm just knitting only Petite Knit patterns, and I feel like I should expand my horizons, but I like what I like, I guess. But anyway, so I'm definitely going to knit another bonnet, and I do think that I will do the Bearly bonnet, or whatever the bonnet's called, from Knitting for Olive next. So I'm very happy with that trio of finished objects. I'm just over the moon with them. I think they are super, super cute. And with those finished objects, that means that I moved on to new whips that have got me very, very energized. The first one that I want to update you guys on wouldn't really be an update. Again, if you stick around and catch up with me on a more regular basis, you will have seen this one. This is the Selma sleep suit. But if you only catch up on knitting podcast episodes, this has gotten a lot further than where it was when I first started. Actually, it's gotten to a point where I cannot continue, unfortunately. So, if you caught up last time, or if you've watched my baby knitting plans video, you'll know that I had a really strange skein of yarn that was gifted to me by my grandmother. It's an heirloom piece as far as I'm concerned. I don't know how old it is, but I would like to think that it's been in our house since the 70s or something like that. I got that skein and decided when I received it that it would be a perfect baby knit. And the baby knit that I actually had in mind from that very moment was the Selma sleep suit, because as you can see here, the way it looks, it very much reminds me of the sample knit that the pattern features. And with that yellowish yarn, and yeah, it really reminds me of it. Unfortunately, I only had that one skein of yarn, and this is all I could get out of it. So we have a little bit of a jacket, garter stitch jacket, instead of a sleep suit, which, is kind of disappointing, but I used up all of the yarn, and that was the most important thing, in my opinion. The thing is, I'm still trying to figure out what I'm doing here. I can't really decide what the next move is. I haven't had a chance. I did mention that I was gonna go and find some yarn. That's something that I really want to do in person, because this yarn is so special and unique in that the texture, I need to make sure the texture will fit. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Basically, my only move here is to really find another skein of yarn that I can use that will kind of work well with this so that I can finish the object in some way. It's not going to be a sleep suit, because I don't think I'm going to love the idea of a full contrast, like a half and half, because I still need to knit the rest of the body and legs. And I don't really like the idea of that being two-toned. In that way, I don't know. If I would have planned for this, maybe I could have made it work in a more cohesive way, but the stark contrast between the top and the bottom, I think it would just drive me crazy. So I need to figure out a way to kind of finish this as it is right now. And what I'm thinking is going to work the best is to find a skein of yarn and really just do a small border at the bottom, finish this off as a jacket, and, frog the sleeves a little bit and do the same on the sleeves. So there's just a small stripe or a small border at the edge that will kind of finish it off and make it look intentional. Will we achieve this? I have no idea because, like I said, I haven't been able to go out and go to the yarn store because I do want to do that in person. Again, because the yarn is unique in that way. It has a rustic feel to it, but I'm thinking that it's acrylic. I could dip it in that candle over there and really find out, but I don't want any, I don't want to start a fire. We'll see. It's also very difficult for me because this is a very interesting color as well. If you look at it, I don't know if the camera picks it up, but if you look at it closely, it's got some yellowing and it's cream, but there's definitely a lot of yellowing, which makes me think that this is old yarn. You know what I mean? And I don't think that that's going to look good with a lot. I feel like there really has to be a special color to make that work. So this is on pause until I can manage to take this WIP with me to my local yarn store and find something hopefully suitable. This is just gonna sit on the needles like this, sadly. But I am really happy. In the grand scheme of things, I'm really happy that I worked on this project. I'm really happy that I used the yarn because I think once it's a finished object, my grandmother is gonna just think, she's going to be really happy that I found some use from it. And then I'm going to be really happy to hold on to this and have this kind of like as a family heirloom piece that I'll put all my babies in. That will be really special to me. So yeah, unfortunately, no more progress on that, but we got where we could, and that's what's important. Yes. Okay. So the next one is something that I've cast on recently and gotten very far with. So far, in fact. I'm on the legs. So I have enough yarn for this one. I have the opposite problem. I have too much of this yarn so that I will have way too much left over after finishing this project in comparison to the other one where I don't have enough to finish. So this is the Sunday Suit by Petite Knit. And I've gotten pretty far on this. So you haven't even seen this from the last podcast episode. Watch vlogs and things, and you might know what I'm talking about. Okay, I'll stop saying that. But basically, this is just a onesie that features a sunburst yoke. So if you look at this, you can see that it's a circular yoke making increases every couple of rows, couple of centimeters to form this really nice sunburst effect. And I really love it. It's a lot of fun to knit. I was saying this in the knit and chat that normally I don't really like full rib, like sweaters or knits just in general. I've never done a sweater with full rib, but I have done like camisoles and things, and I love the finished result. I think it always looks so good. Rib is flattering. It really holds its shape, or it provides a really nice shape too, especially on camisoles or like summer items. But not always the funness to knit. And but this was not like that at all. This was actually so much fun to knit, but it wasn't the full body, so maybe that's also why. And because it's also a baby knit, it's faster than if I were gonna knit a tank top myself, you know? So really enjoyed the yoke so much that I just flew right through it. And then getting down to the body, this was more of a slog, but I was really determined to get somewhere with it. So I really pushed through, and I'm kind of feeling the burn a little bit, or feeling the fire under my butt. I don't know what it is, and I think you'll notice with my plans, I have a lot of things that I want to knit before baby arrives, and it's only recently I've just gotten the feeling like, wow, okay, we're coming to the end. Very exciting. So excited about it, but I have so many things that I want to knit up. Not to say that I won't be able to knit when he's here, but I know that my knitting time is going to suffer for at least the first weeks and months until we get into a nice established routine. Who knows how that's gonna go. So I want to knit up as much as I can and work through the stash, but I think I can already be proud of everything that I've accomplished, but you'll see that there's just so many things that I want to knit, and we'll see if I have the time, but really I'm like pushing through. So I really would like to finish this one soon. I've gotten to the point where I need to do the legs, so I haven't started, but I got the DPNs ready for when I join in the round and get started on those legs. Doing a modification with this one. So typically the Sunday suit has a button placket straight down. I was feeling adventurous and thought that would be kind of cool with a zipper. And I mentioned this before, but I've gotten a lot of great advice about zippers. I've just heard that zippers will make your life easier. And, I have zipper onesies that I haven't made that have been purchased, which I'm very excited about and I think will be really handy when baby arrives. But I wanted to do this little modification and I wanted to challenge myself to see if I could work it out. I'm not really doing anything crazy, to be honest. I modified the stitch count a little bit, and obviously I'm not working the button placket the way that it normally should be worked. Instead, I just kept going in stockinette stitch. So you can see right here, normally this would be ribbing, but instead it's just stockinette. And I did that on both sides so that I can add a zipper here and it'll be pretty seamless. And hopefully the way I can do it, I've been doing a little bit of preliminary research on how, and I think I can make it semi-invisible so that it won't be like a stark zipper tooth all the way down. Hopefully this can kind of hide it a little bit. But there's only one way to find out, and that is to actually try to put the zipper in, which I will get to as soon as I can block it. So the most important thing that I've heard about adding in zippers to knit garments is that you really need to make sure that that thing is blocked nicely and dry, because otherwise, if it's not blocked properly, it could warp after putting in the zipper. So that's something that I really want to get done. So we gotta finish up this garment. Actually, to my surprise, so I'm gonna be completely honest with you and say that I didn't know that somebody else has done this before, that this was not an original idea. I actually thought that I was pretty like, oh yeah, I'm gonna add a zipper into this onesie and it will be a cool new modification to the Sunday suit. Well, actually, I was on the hashtag on Instagram and I did find at least 2 people have done a zipper insert instead of the button placket for the Sunday suit. So that gives me hope because I know it's possible. So I think it's gonna be successful. It's just a matter of me sewing it in. It's gonna be successful to a point. It all depends on my hand sewing skills because I don't want to put this in a machine. I think it's too small. And my blocking skills as well. Like hopefully I'll block it properly. But yeah, so getting really great progress on this. I was going full speed ahead with this whip, but then I kind of got to this part here and I put it on ice for a little bit, and I'm working on other things too. So I should also mention the yarn that I am using here, and it's Rowan's Baby Cash Soft Merino. I like this a lot better than the Superwash yarn. I love the color of this. This is the stormy blue that, well, the Knitting for Olive Storming Blue is the one that started it all. This continued my love for this colorway. Baby Cash Soft Merino by Rowan. I really love this. I think it makes a really great fabric. It's definitely a lot of fun to knit up with. Maybe the twist is a little bit hard to work with sometimes because it kind of falls apart depending on how fast you are moving your needles. But in general, I think it's a really great fiber for baby items. So I really recommend it. I have a lot of yarn in this color, so I'm gonna be knitting up something else with this yarn. I don't know what that is yet. I'm gonna let some time pass after working on this one because I love to work with different fibers and different colors. In particular, the next thing that I'm gonna show you. But worthwhile saying that I definitely recommend this yarn and this colorway, and I don't really like the superwash yarn that I used for the Ingrid sweater. But in general, I think Rowan yarn is pretty good. I like their quality. Right, okay, so the next thing that I have to show you guys was a spontaneous whip. It's a whip that I look at myself, it makes me look at myself and think, who are you? You have changed. So I catch up with Heather and Hops knitting podcast, Kat from Heather and Hops, and in the last couple of episodes of hers, she was sharing a really, really sweet work in progress that I just fell in love with. So if you catch up with her, or if you don't, go check her out because I would highly recommend it. She is a really great person to sit and knit with. She was knitting up something for a friend, a gift for a friend's baby. And I, after a couple of episodes, seeing her progress, just couldn't help myself. So this is also an acquisition. How do I wanna... Okay, here's the whip. So I'll give you some time to guess what it is. Do you have any idea? Okay, so guessing time over. I have yarn and a book to share with you guys. So I will show you the book. Okay, so I am working on the cutest thing. I have little potato chip clips. To keep it open, I have this book right here, which is the Wild Animal Friends book. By who? Louise Crowther. This is so cute. Okay, so Heather and Hops, Kat from Heather and Hops, she was knitting up this zebra right here. And just watching it take shape, it's just so cute. Her finished, I don't even know if she's finished it completely. I don't think she has, but just seeing it all come together was really inspiring for me. And it made me, every time I would see her episode, I would look this up online and kind of, look at it and think about, oh, it would be kind of cool to make a stuffed animal. Now, the reason that I say why, who am I, why would I do this, is that before, accessories just were not my thing. I really just did not have the time or patience to knit up accessories. Stuffed animals being one that I would just never have even considered knitting up. Yeah, hats and scarves and things and gloves. Those were all things that I was like, okay, yeah, but it would be nice to have. But am I gonna do it? I don't want to spend my time doing it. Stuffed animals, I was just like, I would never knit that up. I just don't have a use for it. Of course, my life is changing, so I now have a use for it. I'm very much a person that, wants to knit things that I will get a lot of use out of. And the idea of my baby getting a lot of use out of this just melted my heart. My cold, cold heart for stuffed animals. So now I have a very warm heart for stuffed animals, and I bought this book, and it's so worth it. It's amazing, everything that's in here. So there's different animals, and then there are different clothing items for the animals. I don't think I'm going to actually knit any clothing items, but just the sheer number of patterns in this book is pretty stunning. And I would recommend it if you're looking to knit up a stuffed animal. I know that's very niche. Maybe not, I don't know. I would have considered it niche before, but now I have a purpose for it. So anyway, what really sent me over the edge, I really loved the zebra that Kat was knitting up, but I saw this picture online. I'm not going to flip through the entire book, but I will show you this picture right here. And this trio of animals just... This is also something that you can see on the internet, so I don't feel like I'm really giving too much away here, but these are only 3 of, I want to say like 12 animals, or... Okay, maybe I exaggerated there. The cover says that there's over 40 knitting patterns for wild animal dolls, their clothes, and accessories. So there's a lot of patterns in here. These 3 animals right here just spoke to me. It's exactly the kind of thing that I would want to work up if I were to knit a stuffed animal. And so I bought the book. It came in, and I spent an hour or 2 flipping through and trying to make up my mind what I would want to knit up. Raz and I sat down and debated very deeply. He wanted me to knit up the lion, which I think the lion is cute. But it didn't excite me as much as the tiger did. So here's the lion. I'll show you the lion. Very, very cute. Now, I do think it's cute, but the tiger was really what won my heart over. And then in second place, it was the giraffe. And he didn't like the tiger as much, so we settled on the giraffe. And I'm actually so excited about that choice because I think I'm having a lot of fun knitting this one. And I think the second one will definitely be a tiger. So I'm already thinking that I'm going to be knitting another one of these. So let me show you where I'm at. Not very far. I only recently got the yarn for this project. I'm working on the head right now, as you can see. So this is the kind of the top of the head, and then we're going to be working down to the muzzle. I think I already need to switch colors and start working on the muzzle of the giraffe right here. Or the muzzle? Oh my, so cute. Just, I'm in awe with myself right now. But anyway, okay, so this has been quick because I just cast it on last night and started working on it. It's gonna fly, I think. This stuffed animal is gonna fly because I don't really want to work on anything else. So my Sunday suit will have to wait because this is very, very important. So what am I working with? I'm working with the recommended yarn in the pattern. It's Sheeps's Stonewashed. So I have 3 different colors here. I wish I was more organized. I don't know where maybe it fell on the ground. Things are falling. Okay. So these are the 3 colors that I'm working with. This is the recommended yarn in the book. It's Sheeps's Stonewashed. This is not the XL version, so it's the thin version. It's a sport weight yarn, and it's 78% cotton and 22% acrylic, so it's going to be very baby friendly. So here is what it is. Really love these colors. They're gorgeous. And I love the stonewash effect on the yarn. I think it has a really nice earthy tone. So that's why I'm just over the moon with the giraffe, because I really love these neutrals. And I mean, the tiger is definitely very, very cute too. But this was a great choice. So the colors are 829 Obsidian. So this is for like the hooves and the little, what are they, antennae? I don't know what they're called on animals. Oh, I don't have the labels for the other ones, but I do know that this one is 831 because it's sold out basically everywhere. These 2 I could find no problem. This is a brown color. I don't know the number. This one is 831, and my usual places that I would go to with this yarn sold out. 831, couldn't find it anywhere. So I panicked. And actually I found a place, ordered 2 skeins, and then I got an email immediately after being like, sorry, we actually only have 1 skein. And I was like, well, send me that 1 skein, please. I'll figure something else out. So I have another skein coming from another shop that I've never heard of, and I just found them out, and I paid probably too much for shipping to be able to get this yarn because I really want to knit this up. I'm really excited for this project just because it's so out there for me. It's gonna require a lot more than other projects have, you know, like with the toy stuffing, the seaming together. Yeah, it's just, I'm very excited to piece it all together and really see it come to life. More so than I think a garment will ever kind of feel, you know, like that coming to life. It will turn into a little figurine, and that's really cool. So I'm very excited about this project. It's really energizing me. I love the book. And then there's also another book too. It's just, I think it's on the back of this one. The thing is falling. Knitted Animal Friends. So this is Knitted Wild Animal Friends. I think the book that came out before this one is Knitted Animal Friends. And I know that there is at least one animal that I thought was super cute in that book. But I'll stick with the wild animals for now, and we'll see how it goes. But I just think that this will be really handy for me to have as well. As baby gets older, he's gonna want some more stuffed animals, and I'm gonna want to knit them for him instead of purchasing store-bought stuffed animals. I don't know. Whether he wants those or not, he's gonna get them because this is really energizing me right now. Creatively, I feel so motivated for this project. It just came out of nowhere. Anyway, so that is my identity crisis currently. And I'm very happy that I'm having that identity crisis. And I'm glad that I'm expanding my horizons and never saying never and trying something that I thought I would never do. I hope you guys are taking care of yourself in this heat and staying hydrated. It is so hot here in Belgium. So hot. Yes, okay, so that was the first acquisition, the yarn and the book, on top of it being a whip. It's an acquisition for me, something that I got really recently, something that I got on a whim. Another thing that I have as far as acquisitions go is something that I talked about a long time ago. In one of my 15 free patterns for spring, actually, one of the patterns that I highlighted was a sock pattern using a specific type of yarn. It was the slip stitch sock pattern by Yarnspirations. I was gonna say I didn't remember, but by Yarnspirations. And what drew me to that pattern was actually the yarn that it was using. And I got some. What I had said in that video is that it was a shame because I'm based here in Europe. I unfortunately couldn't get the yarn because they only shipped to the US and Canada. Well, lucky for me, I have family in the US that was able to bring it to me. So I actually ordered the yarn myself and got it delivered to my parents' house because actually at the very beginning of this year, in April, my trip got postponed and then it got canceled altogether for personal reasons. But I had thought that I was going to be in the US in April and May, and that didn't turn out. But because I thought I was going to be there, I had ordered some yarn to my mom, to my parents' house. And unfortunately, I couldn't pick it up. So my mom was holding on to it for quite some time. And actually, they came to visit recently to see me and my husband before the baby arrives and spend some time with us while it's still just the two of us here. And she brought the yarn. which is really exciting. But we also did some other things as well. And since I'm talking about acquisitions, one of the things that we did while they were here was go to Amsterdam. And my parents had never been, well, my mom had been a long time ago when she was in college doing her European trip. Sounds like so much fun. But, you know, obviously things had changed a lot since the last time she was there. So it was almost like being there for the first time. So we enjoyed doing, you know, some touristy things, but one of the things that I absolutely wanted to do was stop into Stephen and Penelope, which is the yarn store that's there by Stephen West. And I popped my head in, but I am very proud to say that I didn't actually purchase anything. I went in with the full intention that I was going to purchase something because they actually have Spin Cycle yarn there. That's like one of the only stores that I think carries it, at least that can ship to me for a reasonable price. The UK would be the other place, and Germany, but every time that I look, it just doesn't work out. Anyway, I wanted to also purchase Spin Cycle yarn at that store because it's very much one of those fibers that you can't buy online because it's so different from skein to skein. So I went there, I looked around, I saw some Spin Cycle yarn, but I didn't walk home with anything. Very proud, but the store was really cute and it was a lot of fun to pop in there. But I still have this other yarn to show you guys, which is the Patons Croy Socks self-striping yarn in the mid-century colorway, which is the color that really had caught my eye during that video. And that was around a time when I had just finished another self-striping yarn, pair of socks using self-striping yarn. And I had such a great experience with those that I absolutely wanted to get some more. And this kind of mid-century colorway, these colors are muted and they're bright enough, but they're also muted in a way that really speaks to me and is more up my alley than a really bright, vibrant self-striping yarn. So I'm very excited to knit these up, even though my sock mojo is non-existent. I have 2 skeins because I think for the pattern, it called for 2 skeins and I wanted to make sure that I would have enough, of course. So at some point, I'm gonna cast these on and work up some socks. Yeah, what more to say than this is a very highly anticipated, these are 2 very highly anticipated skeins of yarn just because they've been in the US for so long and my mom finally came to visit. We got to see each other again and she remembered to bring them, which was really great. So yeah, this will just go in my stash and will be there waiting for me when I feel like casting on a pair of socks, which doesn't always happen. So we'll see about that. So the next acquisition that I have is a very kind gift from Sirdar. So if you're not familiar with Sirdar, they're a company that's based in the UK, a very established company, if I'm not mistaken. It seems like they really have been in the knitting world for a very long time. And the reason I know that is because of the sheer number of vintage patterns that they have with their logo on it. They reached out to me and asked if I would like to receive some yarn and knit up one of their baby patterns. And I, of course, said yes, because I'm on my baby marathon. You guys know this. And yeah, so the yarn arrived. They were very kind to send some skeins over and a free pattern as well. So these are just some of the skeins that they kindly sent over to me in the almond colorway. And what I'm intending to knit up with these is the hooded baby jacket. I think that's, okay, well, it's design number 5478. Well, you can see yourself. So here is the pattern that I plan on knitting. It's a little hooded baby jacket with a really cool detail, like a ribbed detail almost. It looks like it's like a broken, it's a inverse broken rib almost. And I will be using the recommended yarn, which is this Cashmere Merino right here. I opted for the almond colorway. I don't know if that's what this is because it's very, very pink in comparison to the color that I saw online. It's always very difficult when you're looking at things online. You never really know, like desktops and things can really vary and with their display and what colors that you see. So I was hoping that the almond, which I was thinking was what was used in the sample, so this one right here, was more of a creamy silvery tone, like a beigey silver tone, instead of this one. Taking a closer look at the yarn itself, it's very, very luxurious. I really love the shine with it. And actually, I really love the way that it's being picked up on the camera. I think it looks very almondy. When I was looking at it in person, I was thinking this doesn't really look very almondy, but now on camera, it does. It does look very almondy to me. So yeah, this is a very soft, luxurious yarn. It has a really great feel to it, as you can imagine, because it's cashmere mixed with merino. In fact, what is the exact? So it's 57% wool, 33% acrylic, and then 10% cashmere. So it has that acrylic that will make it very baby friendly and easy to care for, which is really nice. And yeah, I find it to be really great to the touch, very great with first impressions. It is recommended for 4mm needles. And 50 grams equals 130 meters. So I'm excited to get started on this project. Obviously, I have a couple of other whips that I need to get through first, but this is definitely one that I think I will pick up and knit for him a little bit later in life. I think I have enough skeins for around 9 months. I want to say the 6 to 9 months range, but it could also be 9 to 12 because I also really liked the hooded look for maybe closer to toddler years. So anyway, this will probably be something that I will cast on a little bit later because I have so much of the yarn that I can knit a larger size for him to grow into eventually. So thank you very much to Sirdar for sending that over to me. They also sent over these really lovely needles, so I don't want to forget them. They have like this, it's this really pretty pink tone that really goes well. It's almost like a well-loved pink. I really love it. I don't really go for straight needles. I find that they really hurt my elbows, but you know, to kind of display things, maybe in videos and stuff, this will be really handy to me. So thank you very much for sending that as well. I think it's going to be a good pattern. It looks very thorough so far, and they give it to me in a digital download, which I really like personally more than some brands will send you the paper version, and I just lose them. I'd rather print it out if I wanted it to be in a paper version instead of, you know, having that as the default, you know? Yeah, so thank you to them. Lastly, what I want to kind of round this out with, because I feel like I've been talking for a really long time, I mentioned that I wanted to cast on another seaside sweater. I was just so in awe with the final result that I wanted to cast on another one. I knew I would. And so I went through my stash that I purchased for baby when I got started on my baby knitting marathon. And there were some skeins that I think I could use. Sorry, hold on. Let me grab them first and then I'll kind of explain where my head was going. So when I did my baby knitting plans video, I had these two skeins right here that I had intended for other projects entirely. So this is a superwash merino from Along Avec Anna. This is a brand of yarn that I've wanted to try for a really, really long time. I follow her on Instagram and I really love the colorways that she produces for her yarn. And I wanted to give it a try, and luckily my local yarn store had some of her yarn in stock at the time that I went to go on my baby fiber haul. And I picked these up, and my intentions for them were for two separate projects. So this one was actually for a pair of baby pants, and this one was going to be combined with knitting for Olive merino for Olive's jumpsuit. Now, I tried to cast on the project that I originally had in mind with this fiber. I had 2 skeins of this yarn, and the tension was off. The superwash draped way too much that I just thought it just wasn't going to work out. And then after that experience, I was like, oh crap, this superwash yarn works so much differently than what I'm used to, because I don't knit with superwash yarn at all. And that realization only got solidified with how my Ingrid Sweater Baby just exploded. So originally I was going to knit this up with some non-superwash yarn, and I realized after this didn't work out for tension issues and drape and things, I just realized, wow, that's really dumb. I'm not going to do that. I'm not even going to attempt to do that, because once I block it, it's going to be all over the place. So these definitely need to be worked up together or, separately, however, but I think together they would make a really nice seaside sweater. Similar combination, except we are going to go for this one as the base. This one as the base. I don't know. So this is more of a greenish blue. I don't want them to be too similar. They won't be, because there's no brown here. So this is a gray, obviously. So it's going to be different in some way, but this right here has a nice greenish tone to it. I think it's more of a blue, but it screams green to me. And then this, of course, is just a really nice gray, just a nice light gray. Together, I think they will make a really lovely seaside sweater. Definitely let me know what you would do. Would you do this as the base or the gray as the base? I think I will only need these 2 skeins, but I do have 2 of each. So if I decide to do something or do a size up, much larger than what I've done previously, I will be able to knit it up with this yarn. And I'm excited to try this and see how the superwash yarn will change the garment. If it will change the garment, hopefully it will work well, because the gauge is supposed to be similar. Maybe it's also my knitting style with superwash yarn. It could maybe that could affect it. I'm just not sure. So I might have to adjust, but we'll worry about that when we cast it on, which will be soon. I think soon. I want to get started knitting this one up. But yeah, so that's my to be cast on very soon. I just want to get through a little bit more on the Sunday suit. Definitely working on that giraffe. That is what's taken my heart right now. And yeah, I think another seaside sweater is exactly what baby needs for his wardrobe. Whew. I've been talking a lot. I feel like I could keep going, but I'm actually going to stop myself here, save my voice a little bit, cool off, get some water. I hope you guys do the same. I hope you have enjoyed sitting and knitting along while I share a little bit of what's been going on my needles, what I've been knitting on, what has gotten me creatively jazzed. I would love to hear what's getting you really excited about knitting right now, because we could all use the inspiration. I just really appreciate you guys sitting here and catching up with me and, tuning into these videos. It really, really does mean a lot. So if you liked it, definitely give this video a like. It really helps me out. And if you want to stick around, I would really love to have you here. You are more than welcome to subscribe. That also helps me very, very much. And that way you'll know whenever I upload another knitting podcast, maybe a vlog, or a knit and chat, all the little crafty things that we do here on this channel. So thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.